Welcome back to another episode of the Daily Candle Close News, where we program divergence and glitches and deprogram the masses. In ancient Masonic teachings, Hiram Abiff is the architect of King Solomon's temple, and his story is one of faithfulness and death before dishonor. But more than that, Hiram Abiff, or Adoniram, as he is known in some cultures and texts, is the template of excellence in Freemasonry and appears throughout centuries in many Masonic degrees in various guises, lessons and references. A figure of virtue, justice, skill, honor. And if Freemasonry has a hero, that hero is Hiram Abiff. I'd highly suggest you go and do your own due diligence. We'll be breaking this down tonight. On January 2nd, 2023, an event that transcended the National Football League and shook the world by, surprise was Damar Hamlin collapsed on the 50-yard line of apparent cardiac arrest in Cincinnati, Ohio, at the home stage of the Cincinnati Bengals. We saw this event dominate the world stage for the last several days, the last 9 days. Okay? News today coming out that he's, been released from the Buffalo hospital after 9 days. We know 9 is the number of completion used by the occult. But we see undeniable elements of the initiation rites of the third-degree Master Mason Hiram Abiff in this ritual that took place last Monday night. Even if this cardiac arrest was authentic and did happen, the question still remained to us: how is so many of these elements involved fitting so perfectly, fitting with the third-degree Master Mason, third-degree initiation ritual? So in the modern day, there's a lot of information for these rituals and Freemasonry and other occult symbology for you to be aware of. You just got to go out and do your own due diligence and become a pioneer. But Hiram Abiff, who is not only Osiris and Zeus, he is the master builder and architect of Solomon's temple. He is killed by one of 3 ruffians, Jubileum, just as Osiris was killed by Set. Hiram Abiff is killed while constructing Solomon's temple. There were 3 ruffians that killed him, known as lower craft fellow Freemasons, who attempt to force the secret word of the Master Mason from Hiram Abiff, also known as the secret name of God, which only some third-degree Master Masons know. Okay, so 3 second-degree ruffians tried to force that name from Hiram Abiff, and he dies protecting the secret. So also known as the lost word of the Master Mason. This is a martyr ritual, typically done on September 23rd, known as the martyrdom of Hiram Abiff. Okay, so during this Hiram Abiff ritual, one Mason lies on his back playing the dead Hiram Abiff. He is flanked on either side by a row of gin-reflecting brethren. Okay? And we saw that with Damar Hamlin, especially with the medical staff, when they flanked him. They call it kneeling, but technically kneeling is done on 2 knees. This is gin-reflecting when you take a knee. Okay? Very important. Alright, so technically this is gin-reflecting. But modernly referred to as kneeling. This is a Freemason allegory and ritual, okay, playing out right in front of our eyes. During this game, the Bills and Cincinnati game, during this time that it was stopped, the score of the game was, we know Cincinnati Bengals gives us that 2-2-3, tying us into the 2023 year, where that ties us into our favorite pals at the Yale University, Brotherhood of Death, Skull and Bones, 2-2-3, and we saw this man enter cardiac arrest, had to have CPR, they say, to be revived on the field, okay? But during this game of the Buffalo and Cincinnati Bengals, when they stopped it at 8:55 p.m. with 5 minutes and 58 seconds left in the first quarter, we saw that the score of this game was 3-7. I guess I didn't take a picture of that and bring it up, but that ties us into Damar Hamlin, who wears the number 3. This number is very important to the Master Masons, the Freemasonic Lodge, that we'll get into later. Neil, the number 33. He's the only player not kneeling during this ritual. Okay, so we know that the score was 7-3, and when we tie this back into Osiris, the ancient Egyptian sun god. Sorry, you guys, totally using one hand here. So we're just gonna copy and paste today. And share this with you. But when we type out Osiris, we see that gives us that same 73 in reverse ordinal in Gematria, okay? And we know this 17 number ties us into kill. We saw Damar Hamlin keel over on this day. Alright, so very important. This also ties us into Zeus, giving us that same 37, as above, so below. So tying us into the god of all gods, Zeus, the primordial sky god in Greek mythology. So very important. So tying us back into Osiris, the ancient Egyptian sun god of fertility, agriculture, afterlife, dead, and resurrection, life, and vegetation. This god was killed by Set. Hiram Abiff was killed by 3 Ruthenians, 3 lower level Masons. So again, Damar Hamlin was killed by a fellow player and teammate, or opponent in T. Higgins. We'll break this all down. So very important. Just getting into the initiation rites of the 3rd degree Master Mason that we saw take place leading into the 3rd of January with number 3, Damar Hamlin. So very important. So the number 3 has become practically the signature number for Freemasonry. One of these signature numbers. And again, Damar Hamlin wore jersey number 3. And I know I've already stated that at the time of the time that this incident happened. He wore number 3. The Bills had 3 points, and they had 3 losses on the season. 12 wins, 3 losses, 1, 2, 3. Okay, but this ties us into the 3 degrees of your right Freemasonry. The 1st degree is entered apprentice. 2nd degree is fellow craft. 3rd degree is Master Mason. Okay, so very important. Hiram Abiff was attacked by 3 Ruthenians. Jubilum. Hiram Abiff is King Solomon, King Hiram Abiff, King Hiram of Tyre, the 3 Grand Masters of Freemasonic Order. Okay, so this is very important because Christians even practice a celebrated holiday every year called the 3 Kings Day. So very important. that we bring this up and these connections. But this ties us into the day that this happened, was when the three kings was closest to Earth on January 2nd. This is when the event took place, heading into the 3rd, when the planet Earth is closest to the Sirius star, okay, the closest to the 3 stars of Orion's belt, known as the Three Kings. So at the time of this incident, it was the time of the year when Earth was closest to the Three Kings of Orion's belt. So very important that we pay attention to this, the symbology, the astrology, the things that we see. And again, this is why this time of the year we see, this year on January 6th, we celebrated Three Kings Day, 3 days after the Damar incident happened, basically. Okay, because we know the whole world came out on the 3rd of January and was hearing about this energy harvesting ritual and genuflecting around Hiram, Abiff, that we saw took place on the world stage. We know that there are 3 pillars in Freemasonry, twin pillars, Yakin and Boaz, and the middle pillar of the Ascended Master, the Master Mason, that reaches the wisdom, gnosis, and knowledge. Okay, so very important, the Grand Master. So the second number that's noticed with Freemasonry is the number 33, which is the 33rd degree, which is an honorary degree. 33 is a master number in numerology. It's associated with the Master Mason and the architect. So when the entire Buffalo Bills team genuflected, except for Neil, number 33, they were doing the initiation ceremony of a Master Mason. Okay, so again, the Bills player number 33, Neil, not kneeling, not genuflecting. This was by a clear ritual design. Whether it's by human design or the architect and creator being a comedian, who knows? That's for you to decide. But just consider this. This 33 represents your Jacob's ladder, your 33 vertebrae that reach your pineal gland, that ascend you to the 7th chakra, to the heaven chakra. So very important that we remember this. So we identified the 33rd degree and how it's the highest right of Master of Freemasonry. And let's get into some numerology and symbolic connections, because we know Hiram Abiff was killed protecting the lost word of the Master Mason, okay, giving us that same 330. When I spell lost with just one T, it'll give us that same 33. Drop the 0 in the rules of numerology because it has no value, okay, giving us that same 33. Alright, so very important that we just pay attention to this, and we'll tell you and teach you about this lost word in just a moment. Just bear with us. So Solomon's temple can be a metaphor for the head, the twin pillars being the left and right hemisphere of the brain, and the 33 vertebrae leading up to the pineal gland. Okay, so very important. I know some people have 34 vertebrae, but irrelevant. Hiram Abiff is the master builder of Solomon's temple, the body, the higher self, the ascended master, okay, the chosen one. We know that Hiram Abiff's father, David, was said to have ruled Jerusalem for 33 years. Jesus was said to have died at age 33, okay. Damar, Hamlin, his last name, this ritual happened to him, and Hamlin gives us that same 33 in reverse reduction. So very important. As we get ready to head into Super Bowl 57, he wore number 3, dropped the 0 in the rules of numerology and gematria. Irrefutable, undeniable. So Mahabon is said to be, quote, the Grand Lodge door open, and it is said to be the secret word. But there is another word that is said to also be the secret word that Hiram Abiff died protecting, and that is known as, I thought I had it pulled up, but that's known as, we'll just type it out, Jabulan. Okay, so very important. Job. Okay, we forgot the H. Okay, so Jahbulon, Jabulan, giving us that 83 that we know we get in, and it again gives us that 30 that Damar Hamlin gave us. He wore number 3. All right, but 83 we know we get in death, giving us that same 83, 38 connection. As above, so below, so within, so without. A Freemasonic slogan. So very important that we pay attention to this. Okay, that 20 that we get in death, we know he was the player in the game that this affected. Okay, so very important that we just pay attention to this. But Jabulan tying us in here to Hiram Abiff and this Freemasonic ritual. So very important. And we even know that there's been some symbolic connections in the past when we look at Jabulan. Okay, Mahabon, a secret word that means the Grand Door Lodge open. Okay, it is whispered in a candidate's ear when they are entering the 3rd degree of Masonry by means of the lion's grip. So very important. But Jabulan, okay, this is, said to be something that non-Masonic authors talk about. But again, Jabulan matching in full reduction, reverse ordinal, English ordinal, and reverse full reduction to football, okay? But in 2010, we know the Chinese World Cup used the Jabulani ball as the game ball. So very important that we just make these important connections. Now let's deep dive and get into the monotony behind the scenes, because this is just nothing more than narratives and repetitive symbolism, symbology, synchronicity playing out in the cards. We know at the start of the year, right after the Queen's death, who was a Taurus, okay, we saw the Commonwealth Games in the UK hold a grand ceremony before the beginning of the games with a big bull symbolism, okay? And we saw this happen to a Buffalo Bills player, a bull symbolism right here, a Taurus symbolism right here. So let's start breaking this ritual down, because that's exactly what this was. And I hate to say that and discourage people and use words like ritual and exposed and whatever, but undeniable initiation rites of the Master Mason has played out here in our last Monday night football game. Again, it's happened before. Just things that we've got to take into consideration by the numbers, by the cards, playing out. So let's get into some date connections as well as some date numerology. Damar Hamlin collapsed on the field on Monday, January 2nd, leading into the 3rd. He wore number 3. This is an encroaching date, so it could have been the 3rd already in other countries. Remember that. But tying it back to the Shemitah, another Monday, Moon Day, to the start and end of the Shemitah, the 7-year sabbatical cycle, the year of the harvest, owned by Kronos, Father Time, Saturn, the Grim Reaper, Death, who after this year, in the Jubilee year, comes to harvest. Okay, so again, Damar Hamlin, tying it back to this time frame, was a 3-month and 7-day time period, and the score of the game was 3-7 when number 3, Damar Hamlin, collapsed on the field. So very esoteric and by the code. So let's make some even more deeper connections to this, because we see some undeniable evidence. We shared in the thumbnail of this video, for some of you that might not have been able to see because it's small, we see Damar Hamlin and cardiac arrest happened 2 months, 3 weeks, and 1 day before his upcoming Aries birthday in the month of March, the true beginning, first start of the new year. Okay, and cardiac arrest when typed out equals 231 in Gematria. Again, this was heading into January 3rd. 231 being an anagram for 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so very important. Let's pay attention to that date coming up in January, 123, 123. We know that's around the new moon time period, so could be important on the world stage or in the markets, because we talk about finance here as well. This is not a cryptocurrency finance video. This is a educational, eye-opening, unlock your pineal gland and become the pioneer video. But let's continue to tie this back into some important connections. Again, we know this game equaled 3-2-2 when we typed out Bills versus Bengals 2-2-3 in the 2022 year, the year of death, the year of the Brotherhood of Death, Skull and Bones, right here. Okay, Skull and Crossbones when typed out gives us 223, the mirror number of their symbolic number logo, and this skull is a representation of Saturn, Father Time, Kronos, the god of 1,000 names, the Grim Reaper, Death. Okay, so very important, and that's the year we have entered. Okay, so continuing to break this down by some connections and codes, because we know that this is nothing but mainstream disinformation, and we'll break this down because Damar Hamlin, this happened 1 month, 1 week, and 3 days before the Super Bowl, and that is the number of dishonesty. We know green screen gives us 113, broadcasting 113, mainstream 113, bullshit 113, illusions 113, disinfo 113, not honest 113, dishonest 113, not true, not factual, perjury 113, which is, last time I checked, in a court of law, punishable up to 5 years in prison. But anyway, just the number of dishonesty happening 1 month, 3 weeks, one month, 1 week, and 3 days before the next upcoming Super Bowl. That's going to happen on February 12th. So the next upcoming Super Bowl is a day that leaves, well, guess what? The same day as last year. And it's got to be this year, but a day that leaves 322 days left in this year. Not surprising, it being a day that adds up to, or the 43rd day of the year, because last year's Super Bowl, when we find that, LVI was a score of 23-20, 2-2-3 between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Los Angeles Rams. A total number of 43, the 14th prime number. So very important that we're making these connections, because again, this is going to be a day that adds up to 57, and we're heading into the 57th Super Bowl, which from the collapse of Damar Hamlin, it wasn't just a 1 month, 1 week, 3 day time period. It was a 41-day time period, which is tying us into the upcoming Super Bowl, you guys, giving us that same 41 in numerology and gematria, giving us this same 1112 number. And who controls the world? The Bolshevik cults of the world, giving us that same 1112 and 41. Irrefutable, undeniable. Hopefully I don't disappear from the world stage after I reveal this, again, ritual that took place, giving us 81 with the Bills player Damar Hamlin, giving us that 81 as well. On January 2nd, Bills giving us 1-2. January 2nd is when this took place. He collapsed 81 days before his upcoming birthday in March. Aries, because we know Hiram Abiff is also an allegory for Hiram above, and March is the tropical zodiac sign of Aries, the ram above. Okay, so he collapsed 81 days before his upcoming birthday. Clearly a ritual, giving us 114, tying us into deoxyribonucleic acid, his DNA, being a 2-month, 20-day time period, tying us into the Freemasonics' favorite logo, order out of chaos. You guys, giving us that same 222, and that's when we saw him collapse 2 months and 22 days before his upcoming birthday. So tying us into, again, just some nonsense that we saw on the world stage with Wuhan coronavirus that was given to us from the world. Alright, gotta have the L in there. Economic Forum, giving us that same 222. And we know the Buffalo Bills are in New York. Alright, sorry you guys. Again, using one hand here. Using multiple screens, one hand, got a bunch of notes in front of us, giving you these important connections. So very important that we just tie in all the answers, because with this 222 number, we know it is the key to the universe, giving us that same 222, you guys. So when we use math, which is always true, rationality, facts, common sense, it can help us evolve to become the ascended master. So don't get caught up in the ritual harvest of energy that we saw take place on last Monday night. People are still talking about it up until today. Again, giving us the same 30, drop the 0. It happened to Damar Hamlin, who wore number 3. Okay, Hamlin gives you 33. Both of these numbers associated with the Masons. Okay, so this ritual took place, and it was a harvest of energy. And when we type out Damar's full name, Damar Hamlin, we get that same 111, the day I'm giving this to you. So why are we not getting the 96? We are getting the 96. Sorry, I just overlooked it. So again, this is a harvest that happened on Damar Hamlin right after the Shemitah year. Okay, this 204 we're getting in his full name. We know that we saw him die and then be resurrected like the god Osiris, who became then Horus, okay, or Jesus, the character who died and was resurrected after 3 days. He wore number 3, okay. He is 24 years old, and he was born on March 24th, the 3rd month, they tell us, in the Gregorian scam calendar. So again, very important. They said he had a cardiac arrest, giving us, did I spell cardiac right? C-A-R-D-I-A-C-A-R-R-E-S-T, cardiac arrest, giving us that same 57 and 96. He was harvested, came back to life, okay, heading into the 57th Super Bowl. Again, cardiac arrest giving us 231, and we showed you the connection to that earlier in a picture and on the thumbnail of this video. So very important. We know this 96-69 connection has been very important in our work here on the Daily Candle Close News for a year. Again, Queen Elizabeth gave us 69 and she died at 96. Bitcoin hit a $69,000 top in the year of Saturn last year, Father Time, and Saturn gives us that same 69. But if you were to look up the royal Freemasonry, and let's do it like this, and you're gonna see a important, well, we'll have to find one, but usually there's a lot of great pictures that show you at the top of the ark the Cancer symbol, the symbol and logo for Cancer, which is the 69. And we're on images right here. Should be a good one. Yeah, the 69, the Royal Ark of Freemasonry, the keystone. Okay, so very important. Just a lot of things happening. And again, this was a ritual that took place last Monday night, and we know ritual gave us that 27 and 81, but it happened on Monday, Moon Day, giving us that same 27 to a Buffalo player, giving us that same 27. And we know Buffalo gives us 63, and we're in the 63rd season in the NFL for the Buffalo Bills. So very important. Paying attention to the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, you're seeing this is kind of a pre-advance before we even see a playoff snap introduction into who I think may make it to the Super Bowl. So pay attention to the team we get into next. All right. So what have we talked about? The Bills had 3 points. Damar Hamlin wore number 3. At the time of the collapse, they had 3 losses. So very important. Hamlin gave us 33. The only player not kneeling at the time, not reflecting at the time, was Neil, number 33. So that's very important. We talked about the upcoming Super Bowl, made some connections there. Hiram, Abiff, and the clear ritual that took place. We know it tied us into the ancient god Osiris, which gave us 73. The score was 7-3 at the time. Hamlin was tackled by the 33rd pick in the NFL draft, T. Higgins, giving us that same 33 or 73. Okay, so very important, tying us back into Osiris and Zeus. Okay, so undeniable how this is playing out by the numbers, irrefutable. Okay, the truth will follow us and set us free if we unlock the power within and are able to see with our third eye. But Hiram, Abiff, gives us that same 73 and 33. And when we type it out another way that it's spelled, it gives us that 59. Pay attention to that 59, because we're still in the year of the tiger, which gives us 59. And we'll be talking about 59-year-old Michael Jordan, the bull. Okay, the Bills is a symbol for the bull. Okay, the bull on New York Stock Exchange at Wall Street symbolizes the bull markets. Okay, for Wall Street. You had the Commonwealth Games I shared with you earlier, share the symbolism of the bull. The queen just passed away, and she was a Taurus. Okay, so again, Hiram Abiff giving us this 59 and 73 connection in the year of the tiger still until January 22nd, 11 days from now, when we head into the year of the water rabbit. So very important. Alright, so tiger giving us that 59. Let's pay attention to that. But this ritual took place on the 50-yard line. Okay, giving us that same 73, irrefutable, undeniable, as to why we're seeing this. Again, tying us back into Osiris, Zeus. Okay, so we saw our fellow brethren and Prince Hall Freemason, Damar Hamlin, apparently ascend to the Master Mason, the 3rd degree of York Rite Freemasonry. I'm not sure. It might be a little different for Prince Hall Freemasons, because obviously he's a black man, not being racist or anything. I just know that most black Freemasons are Prince Hall Freemasons. I'm pretty sure that or they are part of the Boule, the black fraternity and brotherhood of the white version, Skull and Bones. So go and do your own due diligence. But again, we talked about how Damar Hamlin collapsed 41 days before the upcoming Super Bowl, and Super Bowl equals 41 when typed out, and 41 days is 1 month, 1 week, and 3 days before, well, the Super Bowl. And we know this is the number of dishonesty, tying us into Kobe Bryant, the legend, the Black Mamba. The LA Lakers gives us 113. King James, which is the new king, they say, in basketball, giving us that 1103 drop to 0, you get the 113. Tying us into all these very powerful things, which basically always tie us back into, if I can find it, the Babylonian Talmud, the Baba Kama. And I had it pulled up in a recent video. Thought I saved it. But anyways, it's again a number of dishonesty, a number of lies. Okay, so just know that. Where the Bolshevik Zionists say it's okay to lie to us Goyim, cattle. Okay, so negative. I'm not down with that. So I'm going to come out here and share the truth and program divergence and glitches and deprogram the masses. So getting back into just breaking down and seeing where the rest of this video goes, we know that this 322 number has been very powerful for quite some time, and we know Justin Bieber entered the metaverse on last year on November 18th, the 322nd day of the year. We know high frequency active aurora research program, when copied, pasted, and typed out, gives us that same 223. So I expect this year to be the biggest year of natural disasters and events that we see on the world stage during the year of death, the year of the harvest, right after the Shemitah, during the 50-year Jubilee year that they talk about in the Bible, being so very important. Okay, so again, high active aurora research program giving us that 113 or 223. Justin Bieber entered the metaverse on the 322nd day of the year. We know Drake has dropped a song called November 18th, which is the 322nd day of the year. Just all these elites know these very important things. We know the 49ers this year ran up a bill that was $322,000, and we're pranking a rookie, Drake Jackson. So remember, Drake dropped a song November 18th about the 322nd day of the year, and the 49ers this year ran up a dinner tab as a prank of $322,000. So maybe the 49ers can make it past the Eagles. I don't know any standings or any game matchups or nothing. We're 72 plus hours maybe away from a snap in the playoffs. I'm using a code to share with you who may make it to the Super Bowl off of ancient astrological teachings, numbers, numerology, math, periodic table of elements, pi, common fucking sense, to see who may make it. But again, the 49ers ran up a bill that was $322,000. So very important. We know China had the first 322 cases of C-19 SARS-CoV-2, the bear flu. We saw Twitch die 322 days after Ellen DeGeneres' birthday. Not surprising, irrefutable, undeniable. We were talking about King James earlier and the new king that we might be discussing a little bit later as we get towards the end of this video. Let's get rid of this, don't need that no more. But yeah, being in this 2023 year, we know that's going to tie us into some important symbology when we type out, and I'm probably going to misspell this, God of Satan. Yeah, sorry you guys, off tonight. Synagogue of Satan gives us that 223, I thought. Maybe not. Yeah, I could be wrong. But anyway, it gives us that 83, and we were talking about the year of the harvest, death, murder, okay, all giving us that same 83, okay, so death giving us that same 83 as well, alright, or 38, the mirror of 83, right there in ordinal, alright, so let's make this a lot easier, and go back to base and the Chaldean. So sorry to make that mistake right there. And murder, giving us that same 83, 38 connection coming out of the Shemitah year, giving us that same 38 connection. Alright, so very important. But we know this is the Jewish Hebrew New Year of 5783, giving us this 23. So I've been paying attention to this 23 number because it's the 223 year, and in America, the only place that doesn't know how to write a date in the world, we're going to write all of our dates, like the date of this incident, 1, 2, 23, okay? So we're going to write it as 23, but I've been paying attention to some possible connections between the greatest bull and legend ever, Michael Jordan, okay? We saw the queen die, and we know Michael Jordan is the true king, even though they are calling King James the new king. You know, you didn't know I was going to go here, but I'm going to go here. He wore the number 23, and we know he is the person that is revolved around this number 23 the most. Even if we take his initials, MJ, we get that same 23 in ordinal, okay? And we get this very interesting 13 as well, okay? So, this 13, what was this 13 tied around? This event happened "13 days before Kobe Bryant's anniversary of his death." Okay, and we know the 13th card in the Tarot deck is the Death card, so very important. That's how this 13 ties in here with MJ, tying us into this being 13 days, Friday the 13th actually, because when we type out Michael Jordan, he's giving us that 113, that 59 I told you to pay attention to. He is 59 years old. But this 113, January 13, will be 13 days from the anniversary date of Kobe Bryant and his death. So Michael Jordan giving us that disinformation, that dishonesty number, that not true. Okay, so we're gonna put that down there and continue our decode. But again, he's 59 years old, and we get that right here in reduction. And in reverse full reduction, we get that 76, just like in Skull and Bones. And I can't believe I haven't typed that out tonight. It's because I already had tried to have a lot of this already ready for you guys to try and make this a quick short. And I keep one-handedly missing everything. Again, sorry about that, you guys, but dealing with a lot right here. But getting that same 76, okay? So very important. Got that same 41 we were talking about earlier. All right. So what's the interesting connection is this 113, the Friday the 13th that we're starting off January. Okay, this day will be again 13 days before Kobe Bryant and his death, which he died, giving us that 113. Okay, he died at 41 years old. And you know, it gives us that 41 as well. Skull and Bones 41. Okay, so MJ equals 13, the mirror of 31. Okay, so January 13th, Friday the 13th, leaves 352 days left in the year, just like Michael Jeffrey. And I think he spells it R-E-Y, as a matter of fact, but it doesn't matter. It's not going to affect it. Jordan, which gives us 352. Okay, irrefutable. Okay, undeniable. We know he's currently 59, and we're in the year of the Tiger. We saw that his career was directly linked to Kobe Bryant. The numbers and names and numbers are connected. We could possibly see him pass away at 59. Okay, so just calling out a prediction, just like we were able to 8 months in advance call out the Queen's ascension on the world stage. Again, this is not a death like they tell us, it's an ascension of these elected elites. Okay, so very important. This is the 2023 year. Okay, so we can make some more connections with the Franco Harris, Pittsburgh Steelers player that just died, who was known for the immaculate reception. And you see right here the 32 and the 20 in the Oakland Raiders. Drop the 0, you get the 2, 2, 3 symbology. Okay, so very important. I think that was just about it. I can look over a quick few notes, but hopefully this is able to give you all some insight as to how these elites, or the architect and creator of our realm, has designed us all. We're all told it's predestined. But another connection I'm seeing real quick to this Michael Jordan character is Air Jordans. Let's look that up and see if we can't find the Wikipedia on that, because it should show us how old it is. 1984, 38 years old, giving us that 3883 connection we get in death, murder, like we say, predictively preparing you for the possible passing of the Bulls, greatest Bull, MJ. Okay, so remember, it's always murder by numbers, told to us by Slipknot, told to us by the Police on their Synchronicity album in 1983. That's when that album was released. So very important. Alright, looking over everything, pretty sure we've got it covered, you guys. Hope you all enjoy, and if you're interested in this more esoteric work that we do behind the scenes and want to become a divergent and glitch, then follow us here on the Daily Candle Close News, where we can help you unlearn the indoctrination that you learn in your education camps, because we know the true word education comes from the Latin word educare, which means to bring out, not put in information that keeps you in formation. Okay, let's bring out our higher self, our ascended master, architect and creator of our own life. So with that being said, take care and God bless, because what you believe in your hearts and speak in your minds will eventually become your words and your reality. And what you repeatedly do gets ingrained in your subconscious mindset. And what gets ingrained in your subconscious mindset becomes an unconscious action and an unconscious activity. And with that being said, let's end this at 8:38. 83:38. As above, so below, so within, so without. Manifestation on 1/11, the day of manifesting, you guys. So manifest your own reality. God bless, and pioneers rise. Build your fortress and build your legacy.